donc avec maman Chantal Biya. Oui, l'anniversaire donc de monsieur Paul Biya parce qu'il est donc revenu au retour. Bienvenue au 20h, ça part
Ok. Qu'est-ce qui va donc se passer en Afrique? Comme avec vous, madame et monsieur. Rebonsoir à tous et bienvenue pour cette...
3, 2, 1, go!
Ok, c'est bon.
Ces mesures, si elles sont adoptées, représenteraient un signal
Bonne année
et le respect des droits fondamentaux au Cameroun. Les noms cités au Ferdinand Ngo, secrétaire général de la présidence, Paul Atanga Nji, ministre de l'administration territoriale, Galax Etoga, secrétaire d'État à la défense chargé de la gendarmerie, et le colonel Otoulou occupent des postes stratégiques qui les placent au cœur des décisions politiques, sécuritaires et administratives du pays. Décryptage de la menace, pourquoi l'UE agit-elle? L'Union européenne dispose d'un arsenal de mesures restrictives, sanctions, qu'elle applique généralement en réponse à des violations graves des droits de l'homme, à l'entrave à la démocratie, ou à des cas de mauvaise gouvernance et de corruption significatifs. Les motifs possibles, droits humains et crise anglophone. La crise dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest reste, sans aucun doute, le point de friction majeur entre Yaoundé et la communauté internationale. Les actions sécuritaires menées dans ces zones sont scrutées à la loupe par les ONG internationales et les parlements européens. Explication détaillée, l'IE, en tant que promoteur des droits de l'homme, pourrait cibler des responsables perçus comme ayant une responsabilité directe ou indirecte dans des exactions, des violences, ou des abus commis dans le cadre de la gestion de cette crise. Des figures comme Galax Etoga et le colonel Otoulou, en raison de leur fonction dans l'appareil sécuritaire, seraient particulièrement exposés à des reproches liés à la chaîne de commandement et à la conduite des opérations sur le terrain. Exemple de la vie actuelle, la menace pèse sur la perception de l'impunité. Pour un habitant d'un village du Nord-Ouest, l'annonce de sanctions potentielles par l'IE est vue comme le seul moyen d'obtenir une forme de justice internationale, là où les mécanismes nationaux sont souvent perçus comme inefficaces ou partiaux. C'est l'espoir que des responsables de haut niveau rendent compte, même symboliquement, des souffrances vécues. 2. La question de la gouvernance et de la transparence. Les noms de Ferdinand Ngo et de Paul Atanga Nji sont souvent associés, dans la presse locale et internationale, à des dossiers sensibles touchant à l'administration des affaires publiques, ou parfois, à la gestion controversée de fonds. Explication détaillée, les sanctions pourraient viser le gel des avoirs ou l'interdiction de voyager en cas d'implication présumée dans des actes de corruption ou de détournement de fonds publics ayant un impact significatif sur la population. La bataille entre ces deux ministres, par exemple sur les questions d'attribution de marché ou de gestion de ressources stratégiques, comme dans l'affaire récente des jeux en ligne, illustre des tensions internes qui alimentent les doutes de l'extérieur sur la transparence du sommet de l'État. Exemple de la vie actuelle, l'étudiant qui se voit refuser une bourse ou le petit entrepreneur qui ne reçoit pas de subvention se demande souvent où vont les fonds publics. Si des fonctionnaires sont sanctionnés pour corruption, cela envoie un message fort. L'argent destiné aux projets de développement, aux infrastructures ou à la santé doit être géré de manière éthique, car les partenaires internationaux surveillent de près. 2. Les conséquences pratiques d'une sanction européenne. Ces sanctions ne sont pas de simples déclarations diplomatiques. Elles ont des répercussions concrètes et directes pour les individus ciblés. Type de sanctions, conséquences pour les personnalités, impact symbolique au Cameroun. Interdiction de visa, bannissement, impossibilité de voyager dans tous les pays membres de l'UE et de l'espace Schengen. Isolement diplomatique et perte de crédibilité sur la scène internationale. Gel des avoirs, blocage des comptes bancaires, des biens immobiliers et des investissements détenus en Europe. Coût direct porté au patrimoine financier personnel et à celui de leur entourage, épouses, enfants étudiants en Europe. Atteinte à l'image, affichage public par l'IE comme des individus portant atteinte aux valeurs démocratiques et aux droits humains. Fort discours de la diaspora et des médias d'opposition, fragilisant la position politique nationale. L'effet sur la famille et l'entourage. Une sanction de l'IE touche rarement la seule personne désignée. L'interdiction de visa s'étend souvent à l'entourage proche. Astérisque illustration concrète, l'épouse du haut fonctionnaire ciblé ne pourrait plus se rendre à Paris pour ses achats ou ses soins médicaux. L'enfant scolarisé dans une université britannique ou française pourrait voir ses frais de scolarité gelés si l'argent provient d'un compte sanctionné, créant un stress immense et rendant l'actualité des élites palpable dans le quotidien de leur famille. 3. Perspectives, quel avenir pour les relations camerounaises? Cette menace de sanctions représente un moment charnière pour les relations entre le Cameroun et l'IE, l'un de ses principaux partenaires commerciaux et bailleurs de fonds. Astérisque réaction du gouvernement, Yaoundé pourrait interpréter ces mesures comme une ingérence dans ses affaires intérieures, risquant d'envenimer les tensions diplomatiques. Cependant, face à l'ampleur des conséquences économiques et de l'image, le pouvoir est souvent contraint à une réflexion interne sur la gestion de ses dossiers les plus sensibles. Astérisque l'attente des Camerounais. Au-delà des cercles du pouvoir, de nombreux Camerounais, notamment la société civile et l'opposition, voient dans cette pression internationale une opportunité de changement et un encouragement à l'amélioration de la gouvernance, de la lutte contre la corruption et au règlement pacifique.
who actually stood for the true meaning of change in Cameroon, and is somebody who was not at one moment looked upon as a terrorist. And I think that is why a lot of people are calling for the investigation of his death, and that is also why a lot of people defied or ought. I saw there were military surrounding his house. I passed by early this morning, and a lot of people were flogging in to pay their last homage to the Manidem headquarters. And I saw a mother, and which of course when I looked at that I said, oh God, who actually replayed, you know, the they start the democratic period, when democracy started in Bamenda, where we had what we call the Takambums. And we saw a mother trying to actually undress herself. This in Africa we call a curse, because if she did, it would have been a curse for all those who did that. We know what happens, what usually happened in the 1990s with the famous Takambums that were with John Frondi. So I think that these are some signs that we should know that he was not just a common man. He was a man of valor, a man of caliber, a man of respect, a man who stood for the people. And of course, whatever sins or whatever political error he committed, he only committed as a human being. And that the image that I will have of this great man, whom I call the Iroko of politics in Cameroon, was a man that stood for his conviction, and the conviction stood taller than him. And that is why he was ready to even give us his life. You know, he sacrificed himself. He was able to sacrifice, to ooze out his blood to salvage the people of Cameroon. That is the man, and he say Kani.
Are we seeing the departure of the cream, the last men standing within the ranks of the UPC?
The likes of Kodok and that of Inisete Kane today. I think that Ekane's death is special, very special from other persons, because Ekane had the intrinsic.
He went beyond. He
Yes.
went beyond the UPC.
He went beyond the UPC. Ekane, you know, we always have it that the UPC remain tied to their political cycle, and it's always very difficult for them to go beyond. But Ekane went quite beyond, and he proved to the world at large that at a certain juncture in life, there is an ultimate price to pay for one's convictions, especially when we aspire to leave a legacy for posterity. Like I said a while ago, the mere fact that President George Anisete Kane, after having been devastated by the arbitrary rejection of Professor Maurice Kamto, did not allow that to weigh on his head, but he could still stand tall in the face of adversity and look beyond just the friendship that existed between him and Professor Kamto, and still could see in some other Cameroonian that person that had what it took to federate the forces of change to unseat the regime in place, and he had to throw his support for Issa Chiruma Bakare. I want to say kudos to him, though he's in his grave. You see, the Bible holds it, those of us who read the Bible, and it says blood would not just go for nothing. Remember, when Abel died, his blood was asking for vengeance. Those who have it in mind that they can just kill people and then go scot-free, I want to tell them it's a lie from the pit of hell. It is true that they may have all the protection it takes on them. Some may go up to the essence of saying that it is no longer written in the Bible that the children can pay for the sins of their father, but I will tell you that the Bible doesn't contradict. God is not a God of injustice. Some of these people who have killed people have amassed wealth, and the wealth, they are killing the people because they want to keep that wealth in their bank's account. They stockpile it for their generations to eat right up to the fifth generations. The only way those their generations might be saved, spared from the impending doom that is hovering over their families, is if they will refuse to eat that money, because that is money that is ill-gotten. It means the children would completely reject their parents' ill-gotten wealth, and that money is being directed into the state coffers and distributed to those who are suffering. But if that is not done, I will tell them that if you are amassing that wealth, killing people, using all the means you can do to place them under horrible conditions and abject poverty, arresting them and dumping them in cell, your children and your children's children are going to pay it, in as much as they will be eating that money which you got through the shedding of innocent blood. That money that you got through the pains of innocent people. I'm talking to them, because when you go to church on Sunday, you see these people that are occupying the front seat. Some of the ill-gotten money, they even use it. They build churches. They think that is going to save them.
Okay.
It's not going to save them.
Marville Abe is watching us. Good evening to you, Marville Abe. Forbins Kieran, Richard Bache says, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm watching from Benakuma Esimbi. Prince Fende Bile. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and everyone in the studio. Adamja Joseph. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm watching from Douala. They are all watching us through our social media handle. Good evening to all of you watching us on Facebook, and we are glad to know that you follow us every evening. The government and the Ministry of Defense has promised to engage investigations. Dr. DiMaggio, this is what almost everybody is saying. The international community says we want to understand the circumstances under which President Nise Ekane died, and the family also wants to get clarity, his political family as well as Cameroonians.
Yes, and I see the act of the government as an act of pretense, because even if, because I'm looking at this point, and he said, Kane, to me, his death was programmed. Programmed in which sense? If somebody has an aspirator, or a respirator as a lifesaver, and you know that this is what sustains, this is the medical equipment that sustains this man, and then you deprive him of that equipment, what have you done to the person? Is it not an assassination? It means that you have deliberately, premeditatedly killed the person. So what is the autopsy investigation about?
Yeah,
so
but this is, the arrest was done by some persons. Now investigations have been requested for by a different department. Maybe the situation was malhandled. It's like sending a child to go do something, and the child does something else. You need to know why they did what they are why they did, for possible sanctions.
Well, Mr. Kum, I take it from you, but to me, it is too really weak to talk about it that way.
You followed what happened in Nigeria, where a general was stripped of his rank.
Yeah, exactly.
So it means that the government asked him to engage something, but he took upon himself to do other things.
There's a lot of scapegoating in this thing. Yes, in a regime like this, when something is right, it is of the regime, and when it is wrong, it is you that was sent.
What are you? What are you saying?
I just want I wanted to chip in. Let me tell you something. When I was arrested on the 4th, I want to take my case, and other militants of the CRM that were arrested on the 4th of August in Yaoundé, just in front of the Constitutional Council. I'm not throwing any flour on the judicial system in place, but I want to be very sincere in all honesty. There were some group of unscrupulous gendarmes, overzealous gendarmes, who came that day. I wanted to go to the Constitutional Council with other militants of the CRM. Reaching there, we arrived late, and we decided to seek refuge, maybe to seek solace in a supermarket. Simply because some of them know us as maybe special advisor to Professor Kanto and cadres of the party. There was an assault on the place. They came there, arrested everyone, took us, locked us in a gendarme place, in a gendarme detention camp. We were charged for baseless crimes like terrorism and other like. Let me tell you what happened. They took us to the military court almost 3 times after having spent 3 weeks in detention. It was at the military court that the military judge told them the charges against these people are ungrounded. Are you get what I'm saying? go back and complete the investigation. They took us back for completion of investigation. After completion of investigation, the charges were reclassified and they sent us to the court of first instance. I want to tell you, you understand. There are those who let me say, that's the
overzealous. They are overzealous. Yes. No, we understand that. That is true.
They aggravate your crime. Sometimes they do what is called abuse of process. They may collect criminal material from somewhere.
Like take the case of Anise Kane. Now, when he was arrested, we had information on social media that grenades, guns were found. I'm sure those are some of the investigations that this guy was charged for. This were they really with some of
that's
this?
That's the question.
That is what I was going to come to, Mr. Liu. This shows the the slowness of the government to act, because you have somebody and Anise Kane. We are not just talking about any other person. We have somebody and Anise Kane. At least this is a household name in Cameroon. This is a political heavyweight. Arrested on the 24th of October. We are now in December. And no investigation has been carried out to know exactly the consequences surrounding his arrest. And nobody cares to find out whether, because we have seen letters circulating from his lawyers, how they even wrote appealing that the respirator equipment, respiration equipment that they took from him, that this one is like a lifesaver to him. He needs to be restituted that, and it was ignored. We have even learned from a letter from a Minister of Communication, which was even indicting those who did that particular act. It means that to the Minister of Communication, this kind of an act should not be accepted in a normal country. So we are asking,
what the Minister of Communication said was not in the official note. That was he was speaking as release.
Of course.
In a telephone conversation.
That is don't defend that. That was a telephone. Yes, I understand that.
No, I just want to put everything in context.
But you know that he cannot say that openly, of course. Yeah, he can only do that. He was leaked. That is important to say that we know that there are bad things happening in Cameroon, and we actually know that there are people in government who do not know like the bad things that are happening in Cameroon. Just like Ms. Samutaga said, the way they were weeks off. Even of course that I may say that sometimes in investigation it happens that you take everybody and then you begin to fish the real people around, because that's what happened when they want to do a random arrest. They arrest people at random, and now when they are fishing out, when they are getting closer to the investigation, that is actually when
it's not just only the arrest, but the problem is the charges levied against you. Because you can arrest somebody. You don't arrest somebody who is just in a drinking spot and then you charge him for terrorism. You charge him for association with criminals. You charge him for hostility against the
let us get orderly. My question had to do with investigations. The family wants to get clarity. How do we trust the process?
Yes, I think the only way to trust the process is that they should give that autopsy to an independent organ or body, hospital, call it that way. They should give it to an independent body. It should not be the very government to do the autopsy, because it raises a lot of doubt. Of course, Anise Kane died in a government facility, and we cannot still say that we give the autopsy to be done by a government facility. I think that the government really wants clarity on this issue, which of course I've seen that there's some good faith. Whether it is because of the pressure that is mounting from the external bodies or whatever, but there is some good faith to do it. Let them listen to the family. The family has said it can only be done with, they will only accept that if it is done by an independent body. And this is good. But if they think that there is really nothing about it, I don't think there should be any hesitation about that. So I think that Cameroonians themselves, is not only about the family. Cameroonians, they want to see light cleared on the issue of Anise Kane, because you see things like this can crop up other issues. So it is very important and high time that the government handles it with a lot of care, with a lot of procedure that is not undoubtful. So I think, in my opinion, if they think that he died of a natural death, as at least the first statement from the defense ministry said that he died in a military hospital, and of course if he died in a military hospital, it means that he died of just causes, of natural causes, then of course to clear the family and calm down the tension, let them allow the family, as they have said, the government too will be involved. Let the family look for an independent hospital or body that can be carried out.
When I listened to Sim, he was not asking for an independent medical facility. He was saying that the government should use a government facility, but they want the lawyers of Anise Ikane to also get the services of a private doctor in the process, involved.
Of course, it is the same thing. It's the same thing. Let the government do theirs, and then let them give the private doctor to do theirs. It's the same thing. Yeah, of course, because they may not totally trust the services of the government hospital, just as the government itself cannot totally trust the services of the private. Yes,
both should
do.
Yeah,
both should do, and let them do it disparately. They are not supposed to do it together. Of course, you know what happens sometimes. Let them do disparately. The government should do it on and render its report, and then let that report also be confirmed by the doctor that the family or the lawyers must have actually chosen. It is very, very important, because the issue of I already heard even the sister saying they do not want the corpse of Anise Ekani. A lot of the utterances are already coming, which are not good for this country. I've already seen a lot of civil societies gathering, and the storm is actually rising, and we do not need this. We are already having a very fragile political situation in Cameroon here, and we do not want this to actually strike, prolong.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Since the opposition failed to form a coalition because of their personal interests, so no good statement can come from them. Shanji Edwards, watching from Ambam. Greetings to you and your panelists. A special one to my senior brother, Mr. Michael, who I respect so much. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm called Hamza, watching from Kononi. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Cameroon has been made a jungle by some individuals. These individuals don't love Cameroon. All they care about is about your stomach. It's funny how people have lost their conscience. The system is not good. Tambe is writing from Kosala. Good evening, Mr. Leo and panelists. I've heard one of them say that the international community has done nothing in the war in the northwest and southwest regions. I wish to find out whether the international community should have come to ask parents to send children to school, ask Ambas to stop kidnapping, stop ghost towns, stop road blockades, stop paying liberation taxes, stop the killing of black legs, burning of government buildings and individual houses. The list goes on and on. Can one create a crisis and want Europeans to come and solve it? Christopher is watching us from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Christopher. Now, almost everybody wants to see the tense atmosphere in Cameroon brought down to some level. Can we also expect to see in the days or weeks ahead the authorities use the demise of President George Ekane Anise to also engage the releasing of prisoners?
Mr. Leonard, we are dealing
not just those arrested now, but also your party members.
Political friends. Mr. Leonard, we are dealing with a regime that is not accountable to its people. That's the first thing I want to let you know. When you have a regime that has lobbying firms which are overseas, whose job is to do a kind of public and media campaign to give or to paint a good image of Cameroon, you find that it is an arrogant regime. There is a paper I read last week from a prominent figure shared in one communication channel, which shows how the regime in place since 2018 has been using fabulous sums of money to bribe firms in the US of A so that they could stay aloof. The things which are happening in Cameroon, especially the media outlets, to speak good of Cameroon, you find that it is a regime that is not willing to repent, an unrepentant regime. Because after having seen what happened with the Anglophone crisis, what happened in 2018, the arbitrary arrest and detention of militants of the CROM, the opposition asking for the consensual reform of the electoral system. We even saw Patricia Tumanu Damjoya in one of the visits to the Unity Palace, I think it was on Unity Day, 20th of May, personally handed the proposal from the opposition parties so that reforms could be done before the 2025 presidential elections, and she personally handed it to President Paul Biya, and that was not done. And then in 2025, opposition crying foul play, and then finally thousands have been arrested and dumped in prison, and one of the prominent figures died. And you tell us at this juncture that this could create some empathy and sympathy in the hearts of the regime barons so that they can enterprise meaningful dialogue, or maybe you said take some measures to ensure that the tensions are quelled down. Let us just hope. Impossible is not Cameroon. I am not saying that that cannot happen, but personally I'm not convinced. What I only advise is that the church, the imams, the traditionalists, as they call themselves, they need to intensify prayers for this nation. Because this nation is gradually being transformed into Sodom and Gomorrah, where a lot of things are happening. You know the death of Martinez Ogo. You know the death of the wife of one of the cadres of the CRM, Pascal Zambwe. While in prison, the wife was assassinated in Yaoundé. After the assassination of the wife in Yaoundé, he is in prison mourning the wife. His own son was arrested in Yaoundé and dumped at the Koniki Central Prison. The son is there 5 years. You arrest a man, dumped him in prison. The wife is left behind, being assassinated. Just after assassination, the son is arrested and dumped in prison. Honestly speaking, it means that if there was a way to kill the man in prison, he would have been killed. Those are instances that tell you that what interests the regime in place is their stay in power. In as much as they have that guarantee that they can stay in power, then they are ready to be at peace with any other person. But since we also have Cameroonians, especially of the genuine opposition, that would not want to play the hanky-panky game, there are bound to be cases like that of George Ekane that would be in the future, arrest and other like. You remember that I just said a while ago here, on the 29th of November last in Yaoundé, Professor Maurice Kamto, he was placed on house arrest. Just imagine that if he had decided, maybe, or the militants have decided to go to his house to oppose, like you saw what happened with President Issa Chiroma in the north, it would have orchestrated another killings of Cameroonians in that place, because we know exactly what usually happen if there is such resistance from the civilians. The issue is that unproportionate force is always being used. What I want to say is the status quo, what is happening in Cameroon, will only need a special force. I'm saying this, a special force. A special force to change it. And when I talk of a special force, I'm talking about the mutualization of our efforts. The games of interest that are being played between or among the oppositions in this nation is what is maintaining the opposition in the present stage, which they are unable to take over power. Okay.
Good evening to you, Alan Ayumbi, watching us on our Facebook page, and to you, Collins, Christian Azewo Mumbe, and to you, Enene Alain, Prince Frende Bile. All of you guys watching on Facebook, we send you special greetings. I'll take 2-3 messages. I am Ram Francis, watching you live from Guinea. I think democracy should be promulgated by institutions rather by citizens. This is because as individuals, one is vulnerable and liable to death. How is it possible that citizens are arrested, people don't advocate for their release, but when they are killed, everyone is concerned? Lastly, what happened to the church leaders, especially the Catholic church leaders? Well, we thank the few who have spoken out, but if you ask me, I will advise the Bishop of Bamenda to please speak for the Christian people when it's still early, before they turn to generation that doesn't need their church leaders anymore. Thank you, Prem, for this opportunity. Thank you too for watching and contributing. This one from Eli Lino, writing from the United States, says democracy in Cameroon is an avenue for oppression. Those in power use it to eliminate patriotic citizens who actually stand for nation building, so they can continue their business of corruption and oppress the masses. Okay. Zuma, writing from the UK, says, good evening, Mr. Leo and everyone on the panel. The crimes that some people are perpetrating on individual souls have made the land infertile to peace. The only thing that can save Cameroon today is for Cameroon to be liberated all political prisoners and render justice on the assassination of Martinez Zogo. Anise is a martyr and history will remember him. Special greetings to my old friend in those days, Quarter Bamenda Semutaga. Zuma is writing from the UK. Someone is Ram, who is writing from Guinea, says that many persons are quiet when they were arrested, and many more persons have been arrested, and almost everybody comes out now to talk when people die, wanting the church to be more vocal.
Yes, it happens in everyday life. You know, when you are with a friend, when you are with an acquaintance, when you are with someone, you don't value the person so much. It is natural. Imagine a person dies. That's when regret starts. If I knew. It happens. This is just because we are so human and short-sighted. We are blocked from knowing what will happen to each other the next minute. Let me tell you, people didn't believe the list that Anise Kane would so much quench so early. You know, and it was not occurring in anybody's head that this could happen, especially when they think that a high profile like Anise Kane will be given that kind of, special treatment where he is. We pity the situation, and that is why we are almost so surprised. Like we say, if gold should rust, what will iron do? If a person like Anise Kane should be treated this way to the point of death, dying this kind of a disgraceful and shameful death, then what will happen to the common prisoner in the New Bern, in Konengi, and all of those places? And that is why I find a lot of people expressing, and of course it dawns on people afterward that this fight is supposed to really be a collective fight. So they have a mixture of sympathy and they have a mixture of regret. It is all interwoven, and people think that, if we knew, we would have joined forces with this person. And that is why I said, if this is not handled very carefully, it sparks off another issue, because at this point in time, it is very easy for some opportunists to take advantage. It's very easy for some political parties to take an advantage. It's very easy for civil society to take an advantage. It's very easy for the international community to take an advantage. And that is why the government is careful. And I must say that it is one of the reasons why they have ordered for this inquiry, of course, which is firm. And it should take place for them to elucidate, to clarify the points on the death of this monument, on this Iroko, called Anise Kane, who has gone so soon at the age of 74. I think that this is after an age that he was supposed to enjoy his old age, the beginning of his old age, and he has just gone so suddenly. And going why? After fighting for the country for so many years. And it is this time that we allow him to die such a shameful death. this is the reason, more reason why people are getting much more interested. And you see, it is also a lesson for the future, because people are asking themselves, if it has happened to Anise Ekane, what more of other political leaders? We have fear for them. We have fear for them. And that if we do not stand up and speak why these people are still here, we will all stand and we will stand after and talk in rest in peace when they must have gone. And what would that serve us when we are indifferent in the face of injustices? Because they say that if you stand, you are indifferent in the face of injustice, it means that you are condoning the injustice. And many people are now seeing the fact, and this adage is coming true to life. It is now being incarnated with the death of Anise Ekane, and people are understanding that it is high time that Cameroonians, they rise up. And that is why you saw the mobilization that happened around the Manidem area this morning. And this is not all. A lot is being planned to happen in the coming days. And therefore, it is high time for the government to be able to calm down the situation and let people have. We know that we cannot bring back Anise Ekane back. We cannot bring back Anise Ekane. But we know one thing for sure is that we can preempt other similar issues from happening in future. And that we need to give an assurance. To be a politician is not a sin. To be a politician is not a bad thing. To be a politician is not an error. And therefore, being politician should not be equivalent to death or dying this kind of shameful death that we have had. Let us actually allow people to exercise their own responsibility in Cameroon, because Cameroon is also built by politicians, and it's very, very important.
Does this scare others from venturing into politics?
Mr. Leonard, politics is like a calling. It's like a calling to some of us. I remember the years back when I was in my bed sleeping, and it dawned on me that I should join politics. I was then the secretary of the Apostolic Men's Association, and the Apostolic Church is one of those churches that consider politics and religion to be diametrically opposed. So if you have it as a vocation, it will not scare you. It will not scare you. I remember no woman can be scared simply because she delivered the child through cesarean section, or because they had been pain, or she saw another woman giving birth and died on the maternity bed, giving birth to a baby. If you are genuinely called to politics, you understand that there's always a price to pay. Even Jesus Christ himself paid a price. But then, you know, there are things that happen to the ordinary eyes. They might seem very, very bad, but God allows it for a reason. It's true that the death of President George Anise Ekane is painful, and really painful indeed, because President Paul Biya, who is at the Supreme Magistracy of Cameroon, had always said it, that he wants to be remembered to be remembered of as the one who brought democracy in Cameroon. And we're asking ourselves, is it the kind of legacy he wants to leave for posterity as the one who brought democracy in place? The politicians of the genuine opposition, starting from the John Fundi, you come to Professor Kamto, and others who are in the opposition know exactly how the political landscape in Cameroon is. It is scary, quite true. But then, there is nothing worth dying for than dying, especially in fulfilling a mission to which you were called for by divine voice. What we are scared of, Mr. Leonard, is not the barbarism of the regime in place as politicians of the opposition, those who have been fighting. We are only scared of the fact that the ordinary citizens whom these politicians are fighting for seems not to understand the real meaning of fighting for change in a political climate like Cameroon. You will find a country where people vote at time and then they fold their arms and they're in the bar drinking their beer. They say, oh, after maybe when votes have been rigged, they say, oh, Chiruma has failed. Or they say Kamto has failed. We're expecting that he would dive in A to D and hold Mr. Biya or hold this so person on the neck and pull him out from the Unity Palace. Many do not understand that political change necessitates collective and sincere, genuine commitment of all citizens. That is what scared most of the opposition politicians. It is not even the barbarism of the regime. Because we have seen countries where such authoritarian regime had exist, and the people rise up one day and they say, no, enough is enough, and end to this, and they end it. God is not going to come down here to save Cameroon from the present grip, which we are lamenting of. Mr. Kum, I'm an evangelist, you know. The Bible says in the book of Psalms 115 verses 16, it says the heavens belong to God and the earth has he given to the sons of men. It means that God has given us all the necessary enablement to give the earth the form we want. The church has a primordial role to play in this nation, rather than just the necessary, let me say, the cries or the messages which they're passing out. We have seen in countries like, take for example, the next door country, like the Democratic Republic of Congo, the role of the Roman Catholic Church in ensuring that there was genuine and transparent elections that were conducted before Etienne Tshisekedi took over from Joseph Kabila. We've seen the role played by Desmond Tutu in South Africa. We expect that the church, especially the mainstream, that's the Catholic Church in Cameroon, get itself committed to change. They shouldn't stay and limit themselves only to mere communiques and all the like. If we cannot take action, because the Bible itself says faith without action is not faith. They will tell you that they went into the polls and they voted, and they were expecting that the result or the declaration should reflect the outcome of the ballot. If it does not reflect, what else should we do? I think that the church has a spiritual role. What they have to do is let them commit God genuinely. Let them commit the people also into physical engagement. Mr. Kum Leonard, for a people to go out into the street and march and say we are not satisfied with this and all the like, it's not a crime. But we want to see some of these church leaders, the archbishops. Just imagine in Douala, Mr. Kum Leonard, that after it was proclaimed that the people said the results were rigged, and Monsignor Makleda was in the street and said, no, I am leading the church to march and contest that this was not done.
Is that his place? Is it his place to do that?
We saw that in Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yeah, but that was before the elections. They made sure that they engage both parties involved, political stakeholders to come to an agreement.
Mr. Kum Leonard,
yeah.
What is the role of the church to fight against injustice now?
Yeah, but why are you not calling you a man of God also? Must it be the Catholics? What are you?
I want to call other persons. I'm not ended. Let us even look at they call him, for the Presbyterian Church we have the moderator. The Apostolic Church they have the president. You go to the Baptist. If these churches all together came together, because I saw them before elections, some of the churches play quite a good role in mobilizing Cameroonians to go and vote. And the church was supposed even to have sent its own observers in the polls to ensure that they have authentic information.
Yeah, but it looks like the Catholic Church sent some persons.
If they did, like I was saying, Mr. Kum Leonard, the point is that you asked me.
Nous sommes déjà presque arrivés à la fin de cette édition spéciale, l'une des chaînes sociopolitiques. Alors, bienvenue donc pour la prochaine.